Hi, this is Melanie with Red Clover Reader, and Red Clover Reader is the online digital and diverse library for children. Our mission is to empower educators, writers, and family to help create a more inclusive society through literature. We work with independent authors to create a catalog of diverse and value-focused books that are accessible collaboratively, online, at home, and at school. And today we're talking with Terance Shipman, who is a 25-year veteran teacher and the author of Mr. Shipman's Kindergarten Chronicle series. And Red Clover Reader is privileged to feature two of those books, December Holidays and, December Celebrations and The First Day of School. So welcome to Red Clover Reader author interview, Terance. It's great to meet you.
Good to meet you also.
So, yeah, we'd love to hear a little bit about your background. I mentioned that you've been teaching for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you started out in kindergarten?
Yes, I started in 1994. I taught kindergarten for 11 years.
Wow.
And loved it. And I taught elementary for 18. And it's one of the best experiences I ever had. And I think this year, my 25th year, I'm thinking maybe about going back to kindergarten or going back to the elementary level.
All right. So when did you discover your passion for writing kids' books?
I used to write plays and screenplays also. But I've been carrying these books around in me for about the last 10 years, kept saying I need to write a series because I've met so many of my former students, and we still talk about how the good times in kindergarten is the main grade they always talked about. So I sat down about 2 years ago and just wrote 5 stories, and they were all about the Kindergarten Chronicles.
Okay, so there's 5 in the series right now.
Yes.
And you mentioned that you're going on a book tour in the next couple of days.
Well, I've been on a tour since July, and we'll get ready to end the tour now.
Okay.
Right. It was the first day of school. It was the kickoff of that one. So we'll get ready to end the tour the 21st through the 24th. We'll be at a local mall. We have a kiosk, and it's going to be great. Okay, good. Mm-hmm.
And the mall is outside of Atlanta?
Yes, North Lake Mall, and that's right outside on the perimeter in Atlanta.
Okay. So you mentioned that you were kind of carrying these stories around for a while, and then finally you got some time to start writing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I sat down. I think I was watching a Sofa Sunday, Oprah Winfrey, and I sat down, and it was this guy talking about how to fight resistance. And I just kept saying, I have to fight resistance and sit down and write these books. And the first book I wrote was actually the first day of school. And then I wrote December Celebrations, and it's 3 more that's just sitting and waiting. And it just kept going. And now for the series, I think I have about 14 planned out.
Okay,
we're
wow.
trying to release maybe 2 a year.
That's ambitious. Mm-hmm. And so do the characters come from inspiration from your former students?
Yes. I have a plaque, 2 plaques in my room, in my house, of former students who got like Student of the Year for me. So all the names for the students in the book come from those students. But they're a mixture of different personalities.
Yeah, I guess. Protect the identities of the innocent. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's great. So you said you have about 14 in the series planned. So are those stories already planned out that you have inspiration for?
I have like the first semester of school and the second semester. And we're kind of jumping around. So the first 2 first day of school and December Celebrations are part of the first semester. The next one we have that scheduled for release in April would be Field Day. So we'll kind of skip when we'll go into the second semester. So field day will be the next book. And then after that, I'm going to go back to the beginning of first semester and do the alphabet.
Okay, great. Can you tell us a little bit about the process from taking that idea and creating it into a story? What that looks like for you?
For me, it's I come up with it, have the idea. Say for field day, I've thought about all our past experiences of what we used to do. I used to train the kids, and they laugh about it now. So yeah, you had us training like athletes. Well, you were athletes, and I sat down and I wrote a whole outline of how I wanted the story to go, and from there I take the outline, I sit down, and I can write a story. Some days it takes 1 day, sometimes it takes 2 days. Field day took, I think, 1 day because it's a shorter story. The summer celebration, well, first day of school, actually, yeah, that took longer. It took about 2 days, and we edited for months. But we got it together.
Okay. And what about your illustrator?
Milan Rustic. He's out of Serbia. I found him on Upwork. And I actually had an audition of about 25 illustrators. He was like one of the first ones. And when I saw his work, I saw the potential. Because I wanted a different look. I wanted a classic but new look. And that's why we call the books, we call December celebrations the timeless classic. Because I like old storybooks where you can tell it doesn't look like anything. It's anything that you've seen. The illustrations are timeless. And that was my whole goal, was to find an illustrator that can have my drawings look timeless.
Yeah, I think they're really special drawings. I think they really, they're emotionally evocative and just really beautiful. I think they do a good justice to the story.
Thank you. I'll make sure I tell them.
Yeah. So will you plan on working with the same illustrator for that whole 14-book series?
Yes. He's not working for anyone else now. He said the only books that I'm going to draw are yours.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So that's really great. We can keep that same look. And like I say, our field day is in the mock-up stages. He just had to put the final touches on it. It should be ready within the next 2 weeks. And then I hand over to him and say, hey, let's start on the alphabet, which is going to be special. We're going to do the regular Mr. Shipman Chronicles story, but then we're going to have a separate just ABC book.
Okay. Well, we look forward to hearing about that when it comes out. So what kind of things do you do in your free time when you're not teaching and you're not working on a book or going on tour? What do you do for fun?
I love going to the movies. That's my next hobby.
Oh, good.
I'm kind of a movie buff and critic. My sons and I have a show called Shipman and Shipman at the Movies. And so we're probably going to make a couple of episodes because all the great movies are coming out now this time of year. And I also play fantasy football. That keeps me busy. And,
okay.
Yeah. And we have a podcast and a blog, so there's a lot of things that keeps me busy.
Yeah, so you are busy.
Mm-hmm.
You're a busy guy. Cool. Well, it's great talking with you. We're really excited to be able to feature your books. Like I said, the illustrations are just so beautiful, and we think, it's so important to have books that are reflective of all sorts of people. And we really love your work. We think it's really great.
Well, thank you very much. I think one of my students read First Day of School Today, one of my 7th graders. And one of the most beautiful things she said, I love the book because it showed different cultures.
Yeah, I think it's really special for kids to be able to see people who look like them in the storybooks that aren't just about like civil rights or, the struggles, but just everyday life of regular kids.
Just a good story.
Yeah. Okay. So before we conclude, do you have any tips that you can share either from your long teaching career or as a writer, either directly for parents or for the kids who will be reading your books?
I think for parents and students, I think you should read it together. Sit down as a family and read the book. It brings back so many memories. Just everyone's been to kindergarten, at least I hope, and just enjoy the experience. Yeah.
Okay, great. And what about tips to encourage young readers?
Young readers, to become a better reader, I think you should listen. We have the book on audio. Even if it's not my book, any book that you can find on audio, listen and read it at the same time. It will increase your reading speed and your vocabulary.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You heard it directly from Team Shipman.
Yes.
Listening and reading. Cool. Well, that's something we're really hoping to offer on the platform, audio and, regular reading of the book, because we think that will be really important.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for your time tonight. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you taking a little bit out of your busy schedule to chat with us. And please check out Terance Shipman's books on the platform, December Celebrations and The First Day of School. You won't want to miss them. They're just beautifully illustrated, really fun stories. So thanks for your time tonight, Terance, and have a great evening.
You too. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this has been a Red Clover Reader interview, and we were talking with the author of the Kindergarten Chronicles.